mynews.studio.
A Sussex estate gave up farming, let animals roam free, and has now seen a 900% surge in wildlife. Can rewilding really outperform traditional agriculture?
It's March 2nd, 2026. Let's set the scene. 26 years ago, the Knepp estate in West Sussex was in real trouble. Decades of intensive farming had worn out the land, and profits had vanished.
Exactly. And instead of pushing harder on farming, the owners, Charlie Burrell and Isabella Tree, took a completely different route. They stopped the usual farming. Internal fences came down, old waterways were brought back, and they introduced free roaming grazers like longhorn cattle, Exmoor ponies, Tamworth pigs, and deer.
Why were those animals so important, though? It's not just about restoring a wild Britain for nostalgia's sake, right?
No, there's more to it. The animals played a functional role. They broke up old drainage from the Victorian era and loosened compacted soil. Basically, they reversed years of human management. Their grazing, rooting, and trampling created a mix of different habitats. Instead of just fields, you ended up with glades, scrub, wetlands, and woodlands, all blending together.
And the outcomes? The numbers are striking. Just this January, a 20-year review came out. Breeding bird numbers in the southern block shot up by over 900% since 2007. That's not just a handful of extra robins.
Right. This isn't just a minor shift. We're talking whole populations transforming. For instance, nightingales. Back in 1999, there were only 9 singing males. By 2025, there were 62. That's a 511% increase. Turtle doves rose by 600%. The common whitethroat? They're up 2,200%.
And that's just birds. Butterfly species more than doubled. Purple emperors alone reached 283 in a single day. Dragonflies and damselflies climbed by 871%. Invertebrate species are up 16%. Even rare arrivals like white storks and beavers have turned up.
So the key question, how did letting animals wander lead to such a boom in biodiversity? It comes down to disturbance. Herbivores create new opportunities. Pigs dig up soil. Cattle keep glades open. Deer browse on shrubs. Their activity constantly shifts the landscape, opening chances for different species to thrive.
But was it all smooth? Definitely not. There was skepticism, especially from ecologists. Some neighbors disliked the messy look, scrubland replacing tidy fields. There were also policy challenges. They had to fight for farm subsidies that reward environmental benefits, not just crop production.
They addressed it by stepping back. Instead of targeting certain species, they let natural processes unfold. To prove it wasn't just good for wildlife, they compared their finances with other estates, using Savills data, showing it made business sense as well.
Did public opinion change? It did. As wildlife numbers rose and rare species came back, critics grew quieter. Visitors increased, and the estate became a template for others.
That brings us to the financials. Knepp now earns £800,000 a year from ecotourism. Things like wildlife safaris and glamping. That's a 22% profit margin, which is higher than the average for English farming estates.
And what about meat sales? They sell wild meat at a premium, about £1,500 more per animal. Combined with tourism, this means less reliance on subsidies. Their income is now more diverse, not just tied to farming, but also to letting nature take the lead.
So, what's the takeaway for other landowners? Diversification matters. Relying only on subsidies or monoculture isn't the answer. Ecotourism and wild meat have both proven profitable. The key is to use the land flexibly, allowing nature to recover and creating new streams of income at the same time.
Is this approach repeatable elsewhere? The numbers suggest yes. There are projects in Saudi Arabia, across Europe, even in city backyards, following Knepp's model. With the UK aiming for 30% of land for nature by 2030, this could become standard practice.
To sum up, Knepp Estate went from depleted farmland to a hotspot for wildlife. With over 900% more breeding birds, the return of rare species, and a business model that works. The main point? Rewilding isn't just for conservation. Landowners and local economies can benefit too.
Thanks for joining us as we looked at how one estate's big decision is changing what's possible for land, wildlife, and livelihoods.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.